Hello, residents of MeepleTown. Today we are looking at adventure games, Discover the Story, specifically Monochrome Inc., where you're going to be breaking into Monochrome Inc. and trying to find out the secrets that lie within. So let's get to the table and check it out. Okay, so here's a little bit of the setup for adventure games. This is again, the Monochrome Inc. scenario, and I can't really go into a whole lot of details about what's involved with this. So what I'll do is just kind of show you the gist of the gameplay and then some of the story. So in this game, you are invading, you're going into Monochrome Inc., and you are trying to find out the secrets that are within, and then as the game kind of progresses, you'll know exactly some of the things that you need to do. But in the game, you're going to get these all these different location cards at the beginning of the game. You're going to be set up for you're going to have some of these set up already, but they're going to be face down other than the lobby of Monochrome Inc. You're also going to have a bunch of these cards that you're going to be going throughout the game as the game kind of dictates. But the gist of the game is you are going to be going through a turn. Each player is going to be going through a turn where they start off and they can exchange some of the items that they have if they're in the same space. And those are the cards or the items that you'll get throughout the game. Then you will be able to move a character, move one of your figures with the elevator. Or you'll be able to, to go to these different levels and explore these different levels. And then you're going to be taking actions. And the actions is how how the story is going to be unfolding. So for example, if you look in the lobby and you see that there are all these different numbers next to these different locations. These also are on standees, by the way. I just have them laid flat so you can see them a little bit better. So again, you can go to the elevator, you can move up and down and explore that way. But then you also can look at these different numbers, and you're going to be going into your adventure book. Not going to show you all this, but the book has a bunch of different numbers in it, and you're going to be exploring those numbers to know exactly what you're going to do. So for example, let's say I want to explore this 101 location on level A, and then I just look in the book for 101, and that will explain what that thing is. And then you can, if you have items that you can match up with that location, you might be doing some of that. But how that works, and I'll show you this from the book, is that you're going to take cards and you're going to put the numbers together and look up what the number is in the book. So for example, if I have a 10 and an 11, I will combine those and look up entry number 1011 in the book, and that might give me a new item. So like canned food, use the can opener to open this. You'll probably discard these two and then keep this one, and now you have an open can of cat food that you might want to use when you are, say, at a location with cats and you want to feed that cat food. And that's really the gist of how the game works. You're going to play through 3 chapters of this. The story, again, is going to unfold as you're going, and you'll discover exactly the things that you need to do in order to win the game. Now, you also have in the game, you're going to have an alarm card, and that alarm card will sound off as if you are triggering too many things. If too many negative things are happening, then the alarm might go off, and that doesn't lose you the game, but it will lose you points as you're working towards the end of the game, because at the end of the game you want to get the most amount of points so that when you finish it, you will feel more successful by the most points that you get from that scenario. So that's just kind of a gist of how the game plays out. Hopefully that gives you an idea of the system. Now let's get back to the art components and my final thoughts. All right, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of how the game plays without giving you really too much information as you go into this one, because you do want to make sure you keep this one a secret as much as you can. So let's talk about the art and components. First off, this is a small box game, so there's not a ton of components in there. I think the art that's on the cards, it's fine. It's not anything that's going to wow you. I don't think it didn't wow me, but I thought it was fine and functional for what it is. But for what you can get in this small box, I think is a good thing. You get a lot of gameplay in a one-time use card game. Now, on the gameplay. So again, this is an escape room in a box of sorts. So, normally one of the qualities that you see in the escape games is that you're trying to rush to beat the clock. Well, this one is not the case. You play this one out in about 3 chapters, and depending on how you can play it all in one sitting, the box says that it plays in about, plays in 3 90-minute sessions. I think that's pretty close. Probably we were more towards the 2-hour side of each session. And so we might be off, but somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours for each session. Again, as opposed to getting it all done in 1 hour, which can be a positive for somebody who doesn't really like the timing aspect of some of these escape rooms in our box. This is a lot more leisurely paced. You can just kind of enjoy the story as it unfolds. Now, some of the negatives that I have, one is this is very story driven. That's not the negative. I enjoy the story driven nature of this. But I think because the focus is on the story and not necessarily on the puzzles, like in some of the other exit games or the unlock games, I think they're more about the puzzles themselves. A negative is that sometimes the things that you're doing in this have more to do with the story than actually trying to figure out these puzzles. Now, there are some places that we got stuck and we had to refer back to the rules and figure out what we were doing. So it's not like it's void of puzzles. I just think that the focus of it is more on the story. And so we played this in 3 different sessions. We played the first session, then we played the second session the next night, and then we waited a few days to do the third session. And by the time we got to that third session, I think we had to kind of replay some of the things that we had done in our mind. Did we go to these locations? What happened at this location? Why do we have these items? What are they, So we had to really kind of run some of that, re-jog our memory, which you do in some of these story-driven games. But for us, that was kind of a negative because there was so much that we had forgotten in those few days that we really needed to refresh our memory. And so that was kind of a negative. I think if you're going to get this, you need to either try to play it all in one setting or, in 3 different nights, or if you can, try to remember everything as best you can. I think another negative for me is because this is so story driven that if you're not drawn in by the story, then you might not really like this one at all. And for me, I wasn't super drawn into the story. I did like this. I didn't love it though. I think had this been a different story, I would have liked it a little bit better. It would have drawn me in more. I would have been more interested. But just the theme of this one wasn't interesting to me as much as, say, the dungeon one might be. I've not played that one yet, but I think I feel like that one would probably draw me in a little bit more. But because of that, that does play a very big part in this. So final thoughts overall, I like this game. I just don't love it. I think I really like the system. I think it's a cool system to play this over a series of 3 games or a longer span, trying to figure out this puzzle, let the story unfold a little bit better. I like that, but because the theme doesn't really draw me in, it wasn't like this it's not something that I absolutely loved. I did have some issues with one of a couple of the times we got stuck, and so we had to refer to the rules. That was helpful. But I think there may have been an error, and I'm not going to say that there was an error in the adventure book, but when we looked at it, we felt like, hey, I think this number is actually supposed to be this number. That only happened to us one time, but it can be a big deal if that's not done really well because you can kind of spoil some of the other pieces of the puzzle. So I'm going to give this one a 6.5 out of 10. Fun game. Again, system's fun, story just not as much for me, but I really am interested in trying out some of these other ones. The dungeon one I've not played yet, but I think I would absolutely love that one, so we'll have to get that one to the table and see if it changes my mind. But anyway, 6.5 out of 10 for me on this one, and if you'd like to get in touch with us, make sure to reach out to us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at MeepleTown Games. You can also go to our website, MeepleTownGames.com, where you can see some more of our content there. And you can also go to Board Game Geek Guild number 3407. Thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at MeepleTown Games, and connect with us on the MeepleTown Guild, Guild number 3407, at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.